Hi again then guys, and welcome to another special Projects Replica build, and this particular build is for a much more recent vehicle than most of the other replicas that we do. It's the newly debuted Lamborghini Aventador S, or relatively recently debuted. You've got a slight power increase. You're running basically the same weight as it already has on the game, but obviously a small increase in performance. The visuals are slightly different, but we can't really do anything about that on the game. Now, you can change the body kit on the game, but the options that you have are a little bit extreme. Now, of course, you could change those if you want, but at least to me, they looked a bit over the top in comparison to the real car. Now, as far as the colour, I've opted for Giallo Orion, which comes with the car, but of course, being a production model, you could go for whatever colour you want. Now, as far as the rims, I tried to look through the rims to see if there were any which looked more like the new Aventador S wheels, but I couldn't really find any that looked convincingly close. And since the rims that were already on there look so good, I decided to just leave those as they are. Now, first of all, we'll go over, of course, to the mechanical side of things, and then, as we always do, we'll then take it out to a racetrack to see what kind of a difference it makes to the existing car. Now, in the case of this particular replica, it's not a total overhaul. This is a much more minor update, and it really should be considered just that, an update, in a similar way to my updated tune for the Lancia Delta to replicate the Evo 2, and also for the Audi Quattro to replicate the 20-valve version. Now, this particular tune, as I said, is not extreme. It's only a slight change. It basically just makes the car a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more powerful. Now, I've gone for sport soft tyres. As far as suspension, we've got the ride height on 100, front and rear. Springs on 5 and 675, anti-roll and dampers all on 2, with neutral camber and tow. I've opted to leave the gearbox stock, because according to the specs from Lamborghini themselves, it doesn't seem like the ratios are that much different, if different at all, to the current Aventador. I may be wrong about that, but at least from what I saw, that seemed to be the case. Plus, with the standard gearbox, you get much smoother gear changes. As far as the diff, I've opted for the lowest initial torque with the highest acceleration and braking, and a centre split of 90% favour to the rear. And overall, that suits my driving style. So as always, it won't work for everyone. So if you do want to change that, feel free to go ahead and do so. And also, even if you don't necessarily need to change it, it doesn't hurt to mess around. You could make it even better for your own driving style without even expecting to. Now, as far as the power, we do have an oil change. The real car, of course, has 740 horsepower, so I've opted to upgrade the intake tuning, plus, as I said, the oil change, and then reduce the power down to 97.4%. Now, you could just fit the sports exhaust to get exactly that amount of power and not have to touch the power limiter at all, but the reason why I didn't do that is because I know some of you guys don't like to fit the uprated exhaust because of the sound, and that's fair enough. So if there's already a preference there and we can easily work around it with the intake tuning, then why not? Now, as far as the weight, you actually don't need to do anything at all, because, as I said, the real-world quoted weight of the car, at least from Lamborghini, is 1,575 kilos, which is the same as this one already is on the game. And the advantage, incidentally, of using the intake tuning instead of the exhaust is that you can round it off to 595 pp. So that's it for the tune overall, a pretty simple one, as I said. So now let's, as we always do, take it out to a racetrack. I think it's fairly obvious overall to say that you shouldn't go into this build expecting it to make the car beat everything that it comes up against. It's just not that kind of tune. It's just a minor update to increase the performance of the car, and also, as accurately as we can at least, replicate the newer model. So overall, if you do decide to use this build, which stiffens up the suspension a little bit, stiffens up the steering, and also makes the car certainly quicker around the track, quicker in a straight line, and more aggressive overall, then obviously I hope you find it fun, potentially useful for racing, though it's not really designed for that, or maybe even seasonals. But that's it overall for this particular build, and if you are, of course, new to the channel, you can subscribe down below to see more tunes like this. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.